they can also. Okay. So thank you all for being here. This is a Social and Human Services Associate's degree and the bachelor's degree in Applied Behavioral Science session. So if you all are interested in that, you're in the right session. My name is Melissa Martinez. I am the BAS, the Bachelor's Degree in Applied Behavioral Science Manager. And my co-facilitator today is Edwyna Ho, the SHS faculty member. And so Edwyna will go ahead and start our session, our info session, and I will go ahead and answer your questions. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And then we will also just open it up for questions as well. We're a small enough group right now, so I think that we can, if you do have questions, go ahead and ask. So Edwyna, go ahead.
So first of all, the first question, obviously, my name's Edwyna. I have been teaching at Seattle Central for going on 10 years this spring. I've taught at different other colleges. Been in the field of social and human services for over 25 years. So why a degree in social human services? Well, as you all know, we're in a lot of need with social and human services. You can almost just go to Indeed and just put in social services and all types of jobs would come up. So working what we call face-to-face clinical, all the way to doing policy or contracting or different things. So some people are looking for different degrees. They may have already had a bachelor's degree or a different field and want to switch fields. Next slide. So a degree in social and human services will help you develop the skills in social and family services, corrections, youth, community development, mental health, rehab, substance abuse. I mean, the list goes on, as you can see. One of the things about our program is that you do skill building. So we take the skills that you already have and we build on that. So using theory, practice, critical thinking. This is where a lot of people would enter our program not sure, and then pretty much after a year or a year and a half realize I really can do this. And I can switch from whatever work I was doing before. Why this program or where this program's offered? So right now, due to COVID and a lot of other issues, we've been doing classes via Zoom and attendance is required. So our classes are hybrid. In other words, for a 5-credit class, you would go 2 hours and 20 minutes one time a week. And then there is a lot of homework for my classes. There are videos, there's readings, and that's what a hybrid class is. So a lot of the material or a lot of the assignments are already done before class. And then when we come to class, we kind of discuss what you've read or what you've watched or whatever it may be. Entrance requirement is high school diploma, GED, and then also an admissions to Seattle Central. Our admission process is pretty, we take, I would say anybody who applies is pretty close to anybody who applies.
So Seattle Central,
yeah, we have an open.
It's open admissions. Yeah. So everybody, as long as you have high school diploma or GED, then you would be accepted to Central.
Yeah. And I have had students, and a lot of them have been in the military or partner of the military. And so I actually had a student take classes who was down in Texas. I had a student who had to transfer their jobs and was in Oklahoma. I've had students across the water in Whidbey Island or on Bainbridge Island. So this Zoom attendance has really diversified my classes. Okay. So what you'd learn, so a lot of the topics really start off with intro to social and human services and a social policy class. Then you'd sort of move into counseling skills, which would be a group class and a individual counseling class. There you work with each other and do some mock interviewing and understand some theories and practices, evidence-based practices that's used in the field. We look at drug prevention. So one of the classes you will be taking is a drugs and society class, social change and social justice class. That would be the social policy class. And then we do have a patient care navigation certificate, which is 2 classes, and you come out with that certificate. So a lot of times, a lot of students will take the patient care courses and then get their certificate within their first year. And then their second year, getting their AAST or their chemical dependency certificate, and then sort of move through into a bachelor's. And we'll kind of talk about that. A lot of our faculty, both myself and Peggy Martin Waters, who's our faculty coordinator, have experience working in the field. We keep a lot of contact within the field, and we do have what it's called as a, what is it? Technical assistance committee. So we have people from the field, different organizations, help steer us in our curriculum to be sure that we are meeting their needs in the community and that we're teaching relevant, evidence-based, evidence-practiced skills and theory. So there are the certificates that I've talked about. The chemical dependency certificate. Now, our chemical dependency certificate also meets the Washington Department of Health licensure. So it qualifies a student to work as a substance abuse or substance use professional trainee. Then we have the care navigation certificate, which is 2 classes, and they would be a care navigator or a care coordinator. And there's a lot of agencies that hire this, either in the healthcare agencies, insurance companies, rehab clinics. It's really connecting people in getting their medical insurance and other services. So there's the educational pathways, and this is what I was talking about before, where we're moving on into your bachelor's. So a lot of the courses that I teach are under the AAST program, and the ST basically stands for transferable. So once somebody receives an associate's degree that's transferable, they can apply to any university and moving on to their bachelor's. Well, one of the programs we have is a bachelor's degree in applied sciences. And so a lot of our students apply to our bachelor's degree in applied science. And I'm going to let Melissa continue with that since she's the program manager.
Yeah, so so like Edwyna mentioned, we are our bachelor's degree in applied behavioral science. Oh, I think there was one more screen for you, Edwyna.
So how long is our program? So as a full-time student, it's about 6 to 7 quarters. A part-time student, about 7+ quarters. Our classes are hybrid, as I discussed earlier, virtual Zoom platform. Some of our classes are well, for the next 2 quarters, our classes are in the afternoon and evening. So it kind of varies throughout the day. Typically, our program does start in the fall, but vary throughout mid-morning, midday, mid-afternoon. There is a field internship, and some students do it in 2 quarters, some students do it in 1 quarter. We actually help find the field practicum for you. It's usually volunteer, but it could be a working field practicum. And then a lot of our graduates from our AAST program move into our bachelor's program as a guaranteed pathway. So that's what it'd be, the slide previously would be 2 + 2. And that means you could enter our bachelor's program after completing our AAST degree. And that's where Melissa, I think, right? Are you next?
Yes.
Go to the, okay, perfect.
Oh, no, this is still
Oh.
you.
So sorry, we really should move that slide then. So career and jobs. So a lot of our practicum placements are at ACRS, Center for Human Services. You see the long list. This is probably about half of the list that we place our people with. Many of you may know that Central Seattle College used to be Central Seattle Community College, and our Human Services program was one of the first programs that was started at the college. So we've actually been around since the 1970s. We've built up a really great reputation. Over half of the people in a lot of these agencies know of us. They know of our curriculum. They know of our bachelor's program, and they are very supportive of our program and our students.
Here is my slide. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start now. So,
wait, anyone have any questions so far? Just
and you
speak
can
up.
either put it in the chat, or you can even, unmute yourself and you can ask us. We're again a fairly
we've only got 4 people, so if you have any questions, here's the time to ask. Just unmute yourself.
Okay, well, we can keep going, and then we can also ask questions throughout. So I'll move on to the bachelor's degree in applied behavioral science. And so our bachelor's degree in applied behavioral science, it was designed for people that want to work in human services. So it continues, it was designed initially for students that are coming out and graduating from the associate's degree in social and human services. Our bachelor's degree, which is also known as a BAS degree in community colleges, started in Washington State. We're one of the very first bachelor's degrees in community college in Washington State. Our program started in 2009. So we're the very first BAS degree in the state of Washington in this field. So there are other programs that have started in a similar field that at other community colleges, but they're fairly new. So our program has, like I said, has been in existence for almost 12 years. So we, like I mentioned, one of the main differences between BAS degrees at a community college versus a traditional bachelor's degree at like a university is that our bachelor's degree students do have to have an associate's degree completed. So that's why I said it really builds off of that associate's degree in social and human services. So that's where your starting point would be. You would go through that program, complete that program, and that would make you eligible to start our bachelor's degree, as opposed to going to a university where you kind of start off as a freshman student and just kind of keep going until you get that bachelor's degree. There's nothing in between. So our program is designed for students that want to continue their education in this field, to then work in positions of greater scope and responsibility, like managers, directors, supervisors, analysts. So that's really what our program is. And so it's kind of like, I always explain it as, when students complete that associate's degree in social and human services, kind of taking that education 1,000 steps higher and kind of looking at it from different lenses, as far as, and I'll mention in this next slide that, maybe I don't have the classes on here. No, I don't. But you would be taking classes in such as policy, public policy analysis. It's kind of looking at and analyzing policies that impact people and programs in human services. or looking at applied social psychology, looking at human services through that lens, or looking at an economic and political systems lens. Is like, why are the human services programs not funded, perhaps, the way that they should be? And so it's really kind of looking at human services from a research lens, from a policy lens, is really looking at it from that perspective, to where then you can work in more of those positions of higher responsibility. So this program is only offered at Central. And then the entry requirements, like I mentioned, is completing an associate's degree in social and human services. We are also, if you're a full-time student, you would complete the program in 2 years, 6 quarters. And again, if you're also a part-time student, it would take you longer. We are also hybrid virtual Zoom platform, which means that all of our bachelor's program, it is an evening program, 6 to 8 p.m. You would take classes like twice a week and in the evening, and all of it is via Zoom. So again, that started since COVID. However, we continue to offer our program that way because we felt that it was more accessible to students. So now we have students that are able to complete our program, I have students that live in Portland. I have students who were living in California for a while, during their program. And so it really has just been more accessible. Like Edwyna mentioned, I've had students that live in Bay Bridge Island, so it was really hard for them to take the ferry all the time to get to campus. So it has worked really well for our students. So that's why we kind of kept that model. And we are a cohort model, which means that all of the students who apply, so this is a program that you have to apply to, as opposed to the associate's degrees where you kind of just enroll in the classes. You do have to apply to our bachelor's program. And we only have a fall start. So that's really important to keep in mind when you're taking your classes, because you want to make sure that you complete your associate's degree if you wanted to, by the time you were to start that following fall. And cohort model is a best practice in higher ed, which means that all of the students who apply and get admitted in that quarter will all start the program in that quarter and take the exact same classes together. So it builds a learning community. And it's really just like just for that academic support. Everybody's taking the same classes, everybody's going through the same journey. So you just are able to support each other. Students are also required to complete a field practicum, very similar to the associate's degree. It's an internship. It also, we see many students that often their field practicum leads to employment opportunities, which is really exciting. You do 2 quarters of that. So what I think is really valuable, it's such a valuable piece of our program, is that you get the 2 quarters of that field experience in your associate's degree, and then you have an additional 2 quarters of higher upper division internship in your bachelor's program. So you're leaving this educational journey for these, associate's degree and the bachelor's degree with at least 4 quarters of field experience on your resume. So you're not only telling an employer, like, not only am I getting my education, but I'm also showing you that I know how to do this work. Then what also is really cool about our program is that many of our students have also continued their education and gotten accepted to master's degrees, master's degree programs in and out of state. So I would say that the top program and school that our students are getting accepted to is the MSW, the Masters of Social Program at the University of Washington, which is the 3rd most competitive in the country. So it says a lot about the education that you are getting in our program, because that is the top school that our students are getting admitted and accepted to.
We also on that real quick. So University of Washington, like Melissa said, 3rd in the nation. So for majority, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa, every one of our students that has applied to the UW MSW program has gotten in.
I would say most of them that we know of. I think sometimes, students will continue to work after the program, and then they go on and apply, years later, and we don't really find out about it. So I can only speak, for the students that I know that are going directly right out of the program. Yes.
Yeah, and every student I know, and again, that's a school that's 3rd in the nation. I also do know that people have been accepted at these other universities for their MSW and other master programs. So they may not be going for their master's in social work, but they may be going to master's in child psychology, family counseling, all these other things. So just putting
Yeah.
out there that just because people think it's a community college bachelor's, it's still equal to any other bachelor's at a university.
Yes, that's a good point. I didn't have that on this slide, is that yes, we are accredited through the same accrediting body that all universities are accredited by. So that means that when you graduate this program, your bachelor's degree is going to be looked at, and it's going to be equivalent like any other bachelor's degree in the state of Washington, which also means that it makes you eligible to apply to all these other universities for your master's program. So like I said, this is a list of schools that some students have gone to. There's many others. And like Edwyna also mentioned, we do have students that go for, master's degrees in policy studies and public administration, nonprofit leadership, psychology and counseling, clinical counseling, many schools. So it's not just social work, but that is the social work master's degree is the top program that most students do apply to. And then, so I was going to mention just a little bit more about the GAP program. So the GAP program, we touched on it a little bit. It stands for Guaranteed Admissions Pathway Program. And so what that means is that students that are completing the associate's degree in social and human services are eligible, automatically admitted to our bachelor's degree if you're interested in the GAP pathway. As long as you complete that associate's degree and you get at least a 2.5 GPA, then you don't have to compete for admissions with anybody else to get into our bachelor's program. That means you automatically get a spot. So that's really nice. That's something that, we work really closely, the associate's degree, social and human services, and our bachelor's degree in applied behavioral science. We work really close together to make sure that we're able to, offer the best opportunities for our students and, just set them up for success. Why come, to Seattle Central's SHS and ABS program? Affordability, Nick kind of talked about that at the very beginning of this session. Comparing the cost of, Seattle Central's programs to a university is going to be a lot more affordable. And like I mentioned, you can get your bachelor's degree here. It does cost a little bit more than your associate's degree, but it's definitely a lot more affordable than going to a university for your bachelor's degree. So then that will save you, some money. So that way, when you do want to go on to your graduate program, your master's degree, you're able to pay for that a little bit more since you saved on the other two programs. The small size cohort model, our classes, I would say, Edwyna, you can kind of touch on this. You teach most of the classes. I would say they're fewer than 30 students per class. And so that
About
makes
20
it
to
really
25. Yeah.
Okay, 20 to 25. So it's nice because you are able to engage with your classmates. You're able to engage with the instructor. The instructor knows who you are, as opposed to, going to universities. Oftentimes, you're just kind of a number. So this is really, that's what I really appreciate about, these smaller class sizes. The diversity of students and faculty, I would say, that's one of the most valuable pieces of our programs, is that we have students that are very, very diverse, and faculty and staff. When it comes to age, when it comes from, to experience, students' racial backgrounds, sexual backgrounds, disabilities, our students and faculty are very, very diverse, which also makes for a very welcoming also and safe environment to learn. And then student support and resources. Like I mentioned, we work really closely together with our faculty. So as the manager of the program, I also, work really closely with the students and the faculty to make sure that students are supported. And, we know that life happens. Sometimes, students have health emergencies. Sometimes, things happen that we need to make sure that we can work with you to be as supportive as we can to make sure we can get you through school. Or just talk about resources that are out there to make life just a little bit easier for you to get through school as well. oftentimes, we did some surveys, and we found that some students were saying that our faculty and staff and are concerned and interested in our well-being. They felt like they were treated as a person and not just as a student. Their curriculum is of interest in current issues, and it's not just textbook information, and the cohort style is very supportive. Okay, so those are just some of the feedback we got from students. Are there any questions that we can help answer regarding our programs? So one question is, how or where do we register for these classes? So once you get admitted to Seattle Central, so you do, if you haven't been admitted to Seattle Central yet, be sure to go on our website, and there's under the admissions page, it's kind of like a get started, and it'll tell you, and it's like a state website that you just go in, apply to Central, and then you're able to just follow steps. So once you get admitted to Central, then you will be assigned a CTC link number, and that's kind of like your student ID number. And then you set up your student account. So once you do that, then you're going to have access to what's called CTC link. That's like your student database. That's going to be whatever college you go to. If you were to go to, different colleges in Washington, we're all under the same system now. That's called CTC link. So it'll, kind of show squares with different schools that you've been to. That's where you're going to also register for classes. There will be a box when you log into CTC link that says manage classes. So you'll go under there, and then you would just search the classes that you want to take, and then it'll just walk you through the steps to enroll in the classes. Now, I would also say, before enrolling in classes, be sure that you are meeting with an advisor. An academic advisor is going to be your best person, your best resource on campus, because that person is going to help guide you with the classes, to be able to take the correct courses. Because again, if you're also in financial aid, there's certain, you can only take required courses for your degree in order for your financial aid to pay for it. So it's really, really important that you're working with an academic advisor. If you are interested in the Social and Human Services Associate's degree, the advisor for that program is Nathaniel Mescal. That would be the person that you want to meet with. He is the assigned academic advisor. So we can put that, I'll put that in the chat. So that's who you would want to meet with first before enrolling in classes. You will, if you haven't done your placement test, that's also what you would need to do before, because there are certain prereqs before you can sign up for, whether it's English or whether it's, a social and human service class. So was I able to answer that question for you, Abigail? Oh, okay, perfect. So the other question is, if you have an associate's degree from another country, would I be able to apply directly for the behavioral science program? So if there is a process for getting your transcript evaluated from an international program. After I can show you, so there is, if you type in into the chat, into the so Edwin, if you type it, can you, are you looking for something else? Oh, you're on mute.
This is the international student.
So what you would do, actually, if you go to our main page and you type in our main college page, if you go to transcript evaluation, just go there, or actually go to Central, sorry. Maybe campuses, I don't know. Central, oh, you skipped it. Yep. And then if you just type in the little search. Do you want me to go to it real quick?
No. Our website sucks.
So as you're going through it, so there is, so you would have to get it Okay, so yeah, just type in the search over here on the little lens, the magnifying glass. Type transcript evaluation, and then so there is a process to getting that evaluated. And then so go up to official transcripts.
International student transcript evaluation?
No, just go to official one top. Scroll down.
Yeah, in
So-
my case, I'm not exactly an international student. I had just applied for my residence here.
Okay,
So-
so go to incoming transcript evaluation.
Did you take
Scroll down.
classes internationally or?
I
there-
took
right there where it says
my
international
associate degree internationally before I
Okay.
came here. And
Okay.
I'd like to transfer and if possible, go directly to a bachelor's or something,
Okay,
or even a master.
Yeah, so right here where Edwyna just went, and we've had other students do this as well, to get into our bachelor's program as well. So go up a little bit, Edwyna. So no, you go down a little, sorry. Where it says international credits, go down a little. A little bit more. Okay, right there where it says international credits. So that is the process. So you do have to get it evaluated through one of those evaluation agencies. Because they have to be able to translate all of it and then translate what all of the classes and credits are. And then they'll send that to Central, and then Central will look at what it was that you took and then evaluate that, the equivalencies to our classes at Central. And then they will at that point send you and tell you what those courses would be transferred in as. So go to this page right there, contact one of these, and then right there it says evaluation process.
Okay.
And so you would find that, and then once you have that, then contact me. So it's
Okay.
because you want to get into the bachelor's program. So then I would look through that transcript, that evaluation that they gave you, and then we would talk about kind of where you're at to be able to start the program. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
thank you. Yes, it does. Thank
and
you.
you have to
You're
remember, it takes time to do this. So right here
Yeah, I
is, 7 to 9 weeks. So 9
Mhm.
weeks is about 3 months.
Yes, I
Okay.
know, yeah. Probably it
takes a
won't
while.
be
But
this quarter, but it's good to know about the program already.
yeah, so
Yeah,
here's
and
this, where it
this is
says
actually-
incoming transcript evaluation request
Mhm.
form, right?
That's
Yeah.
that's more for students that are not for international programs, because they
No.
have their separate. But for anybody else, yes, that may be transferring from another school, definitely would use that transcript evaluation request.
Okay.
But it's really good for you to be starting that process now, because our bachelor's program wouldn't be starting until September anyway.
Yes,
So you
thank
definitely
you.
have time. You definitely have time. So this is definitely a perfect time to be starting that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing I would also mention is that for our bachelor's program, that our application is, if you wanted to start, anybody here that is interested in starting in the fall, our application is now open. So if you go to our website, can you go to our website? I mean, just go to programs. Oops. Yeah, go to programs and then go into bachelor's, and then, yep. And then if you scroll down to our bachelor in applied behavioral science, yep. And then, so if you scroll right there, you will scroll down a little bit. You'll see a little bit more. Right there, it says apply now. And you'll see that the deadline for fall is April 30th. So that's a priority admissions deadline. So that's for anybody that wants to start in the fall. The priority application deadline is April 30th. Now, if students apply after that, it's based on space availability. So you would go to apply now, if you want to click on that, Edwyna, so they can see what it looks like. So this is where our online application lives. And if you scroll down, you will have to log in right there on the right where it says log in. You will have to log in with your student email account. So that's the only way that you can log in. You have to be admitted as a student to Central in order to be able to get that. And so if you don't have, here it shows on the left, your steps to apply to Central. So that, you know, if you haven't received your CTC link, this is how number and how to set up your account. That's what you would need to log in. Okay. Does anybody have questions?
Could you put the admissions information in the chat, please?
Yes, Edwyna, can you go back to the admissions? It's all the way up to the beginning. I think it says so enrollment and funding, and then go to over to enrollment and funding. And then go to enroll now. Yep, and then just maybe copy that link in the chat. And that's where you would go to start the admissions process. And did you mean the admissions to Central or admissions to the bachelor's program?
To Central, I have the CTC link number already, so I've already done the admissions and that
Okay.
kind of stuff. I'm just confused on how to not enroll, but register classes.
And that would be, again, first meet with your academic advisor. So I'm going to put, are you interested in the Social and Human Services program?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put Nathaniel, and I see we only have 50 seconds left. Nathaniel is the advisor. So that's his email. He is the academic advisor. So meet with him before you sign up for classes, because he will set up a plan for you, an academic plan. So you know what classes to take each quarter. Okay, did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? We have 20 seconds left. All right, well, it was nice to meet you all. Edwyna, my email and Edwyna's email is at the top of the chat. So go ahead and screenshot that. So if you have any other questions or you think of anything after this session, you can go ahead and contact us, okay? All right, have a good rest of your evening. We will talk to you all soon. Oh, did you have a question, Anna?
Yes, Melissa, I'm not, I don't have clear what step I need to take to apply for Care Navigator and Coordination.
So that's 2 classes. So that is, I'm going to put in the chat here, SHS 121. That class is offered in the fall.
Okay.
And then it's also SHS 122, and that will be offered in the winter.
Okay.
So it's 10 credits. So yeah, so those 2 classes will be offered fall and winter.
Okay. Fall and winter. Winter. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? I think.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your breakout sessions. Hope you learned a lot. I hope everyone's ready for dinner. Yeah, I saw those head nods.
Well, no, my Chihuahua is, but
Oh,
I'm getting a look.
they need food too. They need food. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you. If you can just go ahead and go, I think we have pretty much everyone. Yeah. Okay. So just to let you all know, as we wrap up here, it's just kind of a couple reminders and next steps to help you know what you can